counting down 10 board games that captured our attention this month at Watch It Played, and discussing why each one caught our eye. This is On the Radar. Hey, I'm Paula Deming, and our personal top 10 begins with one of Chaz's choices, Crescent Moon, an area control game in which 4 or 5 characters, each with their own unique objectives to fulfill, actions available, and game-changing special powers to employ, build symbiotic relationships with allies while attempting to undermine their rivals. Choosing one's friends and enemies must be done wisely in this cutthroat game of power and politics, just like in life.
I have to admit that Crescent Moon is a game that snuck up on me. At first glance, I thought, oh, here we go. Here's a nice, hefty little resource management and territory building game. This will be quaint. I don't know why my inner monologue speaks like that, but regardless, every time this game crossed my path, I became more and more intrigued by it. Asymmetrical player powers? Establishing and balancing alliances and rivalries, market-driven strategies, and a 3-hour estimated game length? Oh, there's a lot more bulk under the hood of this game than I first thought, so I'm looking forward to exploring these strategy-rich lands that Crescent Moon illuminates. And, you know what, while I'm here, let's also shine a light on the sponsor that helped make this episode possible, legendary Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange accessories from Upper Deck. Now, Doctor Strange debuted in Legendary Secret Wars Volume 1, but now returns with even more setup opportunities and card synergies. Recruit multiple masters of the mystic arts from this talented cauldron of heroes, because only their combined strength can stand against the denizens of darkness, like Nightmare and Dormammu. Oh, but the good doctor is not going to stop there. He's also appearing on limited edition prints and card sleeves, such as these packs of 65 standard size sleeves, which can be used to protect your cards from a multiverse of different spills, tears, and wear. And Upper Deck Gallery's first Doctor Strange print focuses on the fact that his entire existence is driven by reliance on his hands, both as a surgeon and as Sorcerer Supreme. This 24 by 36 inch print is a limited edition and is hand numbered. So follow the link in this video's description to find these strange new items at your friendly local game store and at Upper Deck's website while supplies last.
Next up is a recent Rodney rave, Soldiers in Postmans uniforms, which seeks to recreate an event from the Second World War, when workers of a Polish postal office defended it from German invaders throughout a day-long siege. This game's single player defends the postal workers and non-combatants with the goal of preventing as many casualties as possible. At the end of the game, the score is based on the number of non-combatants and postal workers that survived the attacks.
This is actually the third in a series of titles by game designer David Thompson, although in some of the later titles, like this one here, he has co-designer credits. And I guess I kind of skipped over the first 2 in the series. I saw them, but I wasn't drawn to pick them up. And I guess this speaks to the particular power of a game's title, because when I saw this, Soldiers in Postman's uniforms, it really made me wonder about the subject of this game, and I wanted to find out more. So I looked into it. On the very first day of World War II, as Germans were invading Danzig, the post office employees there, who had, I guess, some amount of military training and also a supply of weapons there, mostly like pistols and some grenades, they picked up their weapons to stand their ground and defend against the impending invasion. The amount of courage against such incredible odds is, it's overwhelming to consider. As some of you may have picked up on from previous On the Radar picks, I've had a growing interest in historical war games of late, and I think also because my own personal gaming opportunities are a little more limited these days, it makes the option to play a game solo just more appealing to me. But I think it was also the chance to learn the history behind this game and play it out that really drew me in. That, and one of the designers, as mentioned, is David Thompson, whose other titles like War Chest and Undaunted, and this one here, Sniper Elite the board game, the tutorial I'm currently working on. These are all games I really enjoyed. So this current pick didn't just end up on my radar. After picking it, I then went ahead and ordered it. So soon I'll be exploring it for myself.
My first personal pick this month is Conspiracy Abyss Universe, a card game set in the murky marine microcosm of Abyss. The deck consists of 12 cards in 5 colors, numbered 0 through 6. Each player drafts cards to build a pyramid, starting with a row of 5 cards, then 4 cards in a row below that, then 3 below that, and so on, like a pyramid, except I guess it's an inverted pyramid. Additionally, there are location cards which increase certain values and sometimes have special powers. There's also keys and pearls and other surprises that are discovered as the game progresses. This is another game I've discovered on Board Game Arena with Matthew. Isn't that right, Matthew?
That's right, Paula. I might not be able to cut a rug, but
No, we're not at that part yet.
Oh, Conspiracy Abyss Universe is a game with really simple actions. Take a card, place a card, build your tableau, while also trying to force your opponent into having to choose cards that aren't ideal for them. It's like taking the last Yorkshire pudding from a carvery. And the person behind you definitely wants Yorkshire puddings, don't they? Because they're at a carvery. Who wouldn't want them?
Yep. It caught my eye because it's quick and simple, but another really good puzzle that's visually appealing, which I like. And honestly, as soon as we finish playing a game of this, we immediately say, do you want to play again? Do you? Like right now, I'm not busy. I'm filming something, but I can come back to this. Okay. Matthew's first pick this month is Kuruka, a wooden tabletop game designed to combine elements of snooker and carom, but with a literal twist because it's played on a table that spins. On a turn, flick the striker to pot the counters, which is a phrase I absolutely understand, no question. And then you spin the table to reposition the board for your next turn.
This game has been on my radar for a while, but I haven't had an opportunity to play it yet, which is a fact that tears at my very soul and has robbed me of the ability to experience any emotion, certainly joy, whatever that feels like. Look, I love snooker, right? And I love flicking discs. And I love the concept of centrifugal force. Just going round and round. You never know what's going to happen next. But if you package them all together, you've got the game Kuruka. Also, solid name. Fantastic. 10 out of 10 name. Let's be real.
Monique and Naveen have been dreaming of their first pick, Nightmare Cathedral, an upcoming strategy game for 1 to 4 players where victory is gained by controlling the map, managing resources, following objectives, and selecting when to engage in fast and furious conflicts to gain strategic advantage. Nightmare Cathedral, fast and furious, sir. The fast and furious of your nightmares. Players not only perform actions, but can also follow the actions of other players to produce units, build fortifications, maneuver around the map, and climb a ritual track by sending their followers to a nice farm up state where they can run and play in the sun all afternoon. Oh, that's nice. Why do they call it Nightmare Cathedral?
The artwork and the theme sure did draw me into this game, which is kind of strange because I'm more of a mechanics over theme guy. But for some reason, this game is doing it for me. Also, the idea of being able to play action cards, not just on my turn, but as a reaction to other players' actions, has me really, really intrigued.
Chaz is back with the other game that's been blipping away on his radar this month, the city building board game Foundations of Rome, in which ancient architects compete to claim lots of land and make magnificent monuments and buildings. With 96 architectural miniatures included in the base game, Foundations of Rome does all it can to replicate the glory of the ancient city on your gaming table.
Ho, ho, ho. Oh, yes. Now, I backed this game right here on Kickstarter, which I would get out and show you, except I'm afraid that lifting it off my shelf would rip my arms out of their sockets. But this game right here is a textbook example to me of what I think its designer, Emerson Matsuuchi, excels at. Its gameplay is streamlined without being simple. Even with being deliciously overproduced to the point of lunacy, I think that this game doesn't just depend alone on its eye candy. There's actually a substantial game in this game. I make words for a living. To me, its gameplay is reminiscent of a choir, while still including some interesting new twists and challenges of its own. So, if you haven't had a chance to play Foundations of Rome yet, well, find yourself a forklift and a very sturdy table, and give it a try. And another Kickstarter to try is one that helped make this episode possible, Tiny Epic Vikings from Gameland Games, a fast-paced 1 to 4 player strategy game of drafting, area control, and set collection. The Tiny Epic series already fits a lot of content into its itty-bitty little boxes, and Vikings somehow comes packed with even more, being the first game in the series to feature a foldable game board. And players use this board to lead a clan of Vikings over the course of 3 eras, clamoring to claim the icy lands for their own, raid and conquer the islands with settlers, build boats and temples to gain influence, and battle for the favor of the gods themselves. Because every Viking shares 2 dreams. One, to serve in Valhalla during the afterlife, and then, while still on Earth, to follow the link in this video's description to set sail for the Tiny Epic Vikings Kickstarter campaign, which is running right now through May 26th. So check it out and prepare for a small box full of big strategies.
Another game that has caught my attention this month is Into the Woods, The Battle of Shiloh, the 8th installment of the Great Battles of the American Civil War series, published by GMT Games. Reportedly, this series features one of the hobby's longest-lived design concepts, Terrible Swift Sword, designed by Richard Berg in 1976. This version of the game includes 10 scenarios, ranging from division-level contests on half-size maps to 2-map battles depicting both the first and second day of the struggle. Okay, so I will be honest with everyone, I don't know anything about this game. But it got on my radar this month because I saw the title and I really wanted it to be a board game adaptation of Stephen Sondheim's musical Into the Woods. It's not. It's not at all. But that did legitimately put the game on my radar, so I looked into it. Regardless, this video has been my excuse to learn more about the game. And I don't know, I hope it's a good excuse for you too. Something's brewing at number 3, and that something is Monique Naveen's second pick. Septima, a competitive strategy game of witchcraft. As the leader of a coven, each player must prove their worth in the town of Noctenburg to become the successor of Septima, the High Witch. To succeed, they'll need to practice their craft, rescue their brethren from trials, and gain wisdom by collecting herbs, brewing potions, and healing the townsfolk. But beware, magic, even if used for good, invite suspicion from townsfolk. Remember those trials I mentioned just a second ago? Yeah, you get burned. And I don't mean metaphorically.
One of the things that I love most about Mind Clash games is their unique board gaming themes, which is why Septima is on my radar this month. I've always been intrigued by witchy themes, and so I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to incorporate the theme with the mechanisms in a highly interactive strategy game.
Far northward on our list is For Northwood. That's a tongue twister, a solo hand management trick-taking game of precision. Just like the precision my tongue required to be able to say that first sentence. Far northward is For Northwood. Far northward is For Northwood. Got it. Boom. Over 8 rounds, the player must visit 8 animal fiefs and engage their rulers in dialogue, or tricks. Each ruler's suit represents the trump for that fief. Each ruler also requires winning an exact number of tricks to join the alliance, so the game gets harder as the player's options dwindle.
Now, I would argue that things were already getting out of hand when Renegade Games tried to pull a fast one on us by creating a 2-player trick-taking game with Fox in the Forest. A trick-taking game for 2 players. That can't work. It's impossible. Well, turns out it wasn't impossible, and I really enjoyed it. Now we have a new designer who's saying, let's make a solo trick-taking game. That can't be possible, and yet, there it was, for Northwood, on GameFound. Spoiler, I backed it. If you're not familiar with trick-taking games, I might need you to do a quick Google search to save us some time here, because right now I'm going to spend far too much time talking about the theme and mechanics, and I'll try to make up for it by talking very fast, just like a forest animal would. For Northwood started as an award-winning print-and-play game, and in it, thematically, you're trying to convince 8 animal rulers to unite for the good of the Forest Kingdom, which I know sounds like a pretty heady theme for a trick-taking game, but I think it really works. You'll have 8 animal rulers face up on the table, and one at a time, you'll pick one to visit, and you try to convince them to join your side. And then you draw a card from the deck to begin the trick, or thematically, represent their side of the conversation that you're trying to have with them. And then you play a card from your hand, which will either win or lose you the trick, which again, thematically, represents how effectively you're making your case to that ruler. Each ruler has a certain number of tricks you're trying to win to persuade them. So you have to hit a specific target of tricks. Like any good negotiation, you need to win some points but concede others. If you convince that ruler to join your side, they'll give you a benefit to help you persuade other rulers, but if you fail, they become hostile towards you. The catch is that you don't have to persuade all 8 rulers to your side, because at the start of the game, 3 of the rulers will randomly be assigned a star, but you don't know which ones. At the end of the game, you'll find out, and as long as you've persuaded the 3 that have the star, you win. So the more of the rulers that you persuade over the course of the game, the greater the odds that you'll win, but you may still pull a lucky win, even if your conversations don't all go well with all of the animals, which I think will add a great bit of tension, keeping you invested throughout. Now, I love the theme, I love the concept, I love the combination of those things, and I've talked far too long about it, but I can't wait to play. And since it's a print and play, I suppose I can play it anytime I want while waiting for my ordered copy to arrive. Whew. Okay. There.
And finally, we have Marrakesh, in which textile salespersons try to outwit their competition in rival rug retail. Each player starts with 10 coins and an equal number of rugs, and then competes to collect coins by placing, rotating, and covering the countryside in carpets. Both Matthew and I ended up selecting this game this month.
That's right, Paula. I may not be able to cut a rug, but I sure as heck can sell one. I knew this whole reference would come back around at some point. Paula, I recently played this on Board Game Arena with you, where I realised how good it is. Plus, there's a new edition coming out right now, so that's pretty serendipitous, honestly. I'm excited about it. It's got fabric pieces. And it's so simple. And you're so quick to tell somebody that they're awful. Which I did do, now I think about it. Again, played it with you, so...
Oh, I would love to try the physical version of this game. I think it doesn't actually come with tiles. It comes with fabric for the rugs that you lay down so you can stack them more easily on top of each other. Also, the actions are so simple. Rotate, move, place a rug. But the puzzle and strategy are tricky with just enough luck involved to keep things interesting. It's really fun when your opponent tries to move past your giant rug island, they get a bad roll, they land on your carpet, and now they have to pay you lots of money. It is less fun when the same thing happens to you, though. But Matthew and I aren't the only ones posing challenges to each other. For 10 more games gaining popularity, continue on to this month's Momentin, where Chaz and Rodney challenge each other to a winner-takes-all cardboard countdown duel. See you over there. Blip, 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 blipping away on his radar. Get it? Because it ties into the name of the show. Cool.